That's right, friends. It's wedding week here on CTV Morning Live. Our first wedding guest, as it were. Shannon Kennedy is here from Kennedy Event Planning. How are you?
I'm very well. Good morning.
Good to have you here. We're going to talk wedding budgets, and I'm sure that's something you sit down with your clients and deal with right off the bat.
Absolutely. Money is probably one of the trickiest things that couples have to deal with when it comes to planning a wedding, but It's also the most important.
It is, and it's not easy. It's not cheap to pull off the wedding you want.
That's correct. The average now that experts are saying it's Canadian weddings, or couples are spending up to $35,000 on Canadian weddings.
Sweet mother of pearl.
Yes.
That's a lot of dough.
That is, absolutely. It's a small car.
Yeah, exactly. It's a decent car at that. You know, you got to plan for this. That's the thing. If you're going to get engaged, and unless you got a big pile of money in the bank, you're going to have to save your money and budget accordingly.
Yes.
Once you have a budget, whatever that might be, and it doesn't have to be 35 grand.
No,
you can certainly do it for a lot less than that. What's the most important thing to do with that money in the beginning?
I think the first and most important thing is to figure out how many guests you actually want to invite. I think you need to sit down with your fiance and your family and start making a list. And don't be afraid to be critical. Be ruthless when you're making that list. Absolutely. Because the smaller the guest list, the more money you can spend. If you're thinking, you know, when you're planning for a reception, you're spending between $100 and $180,000, or excuse me, $100 and $180 per person.
Right.
It can go a long way if you have fewer guests and create a much sort of grander experience.
So sit down and really take a good hard look at the wedding list.
Absolutely. Don't be afraid to break out the Sharpie and start crossing people off.
And like things you can eliminate. Not that I don't want children at the wedding, but one of the things is, you know, if you got to cut down the list, right? What are the kids going to get out of it?
Probably very little.
Exactly.
I think kids and coworkers are the first to go. They're the two sort of social circles that will be the least offended that they're not present.
Right.
And then, you know, sort of start breaking down, thinking about plus ones. You know, perhaps your single guests don't get just a random plus one. It's okay for singles to mingle.
Yeah,
and then,
there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But have more than one.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
What, like obviously people might want to hire you, right? And it doesn't mean that you have to have a humongous budget to hire someone like yourself as a wedding planner.
No, not at all. And I think that's a huge misconception that is out there in the public. In fact, wedding planners are probably one of the best things to help you with managing your budget. Most wedding planners within the city offer different levels of service. So perhaps you don't want to forfeit your entire planning process and have them accompany you through the entire process, but perhaps you want to bring them in for the last month to kind of tidy up those details. And myself, including some of the other planners in the city, offer sort of a bit of a payment plan where we take the cost of our services and divvy it up over the period of the engagement. So it's just one small installation that you make every month. So
you're not, you know, giving someone like yourself thousands of dollars in one fell swoop, right?
No, not at all. You have enough big bills to worry about, particularly as the day approaches, that I want to convenience you rather than inconvenience you.
Right. How long in advance should someone like you come in, Shannon?
Ideally, as soon as the engagement has been announced and we start the planning process together. However, I have couples who pick me up 6 months before the wedding or 1 month before the wedding.
Right,
depending on their situation.
Yeah, and every situation is different. There's no question about that. If it's over a longer period of time, people shouldn't, like, you have one fee that's locked in. It's not like it's going to grow astronomically over a long, let's say, a year.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. So, and that's all sort of contracted with the couple, and we go through quite in-depthly as to what the process is and the
Do you help them budget?
I do, yes, absolutely.
I know you wear many hats.
I do wear many hats.
And being a wedding planner, I don't know how you do that. I don't. But you do wear many hats, and you know, amongst them is planning a budget?
Yes. So I sit down with my couples and we first identify sort of the must-haves and the nice-to-haves. So
do you help them trim that budget, like really get tough with them?
Well, if I have to put on my accounting hat and be a little realistic, yes, absolutely. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's the client's wedding. So if they really want to sort of overspend within that budget, it's not within my right to tell them not to, but I will advise them as best as I can to stay within their limitations.
So many ways to pull off a great wedding, and so many different themes you could have going. It's endless, really.
Endless, absolutely.
And I'm sure you're an ideas person as well, right?
Absolutely. I think the best thing about a modern wedding is there are no rules anymore.
No.
You get to do whatever you want.
Exactly. And make sure you do that. That's what this is all about. You got to remember, I think, that people forget sometimes, it's for them. It's not really for your guests, it's for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A wedding is about a couple coming together and celebrating. It's
in
two
the way
families
they want.
coming together to create one.
We got to run, but where do people get a hold of you?
You can find me online at www.kennedyevents.ca.
Yep.
And my office is actually located in the Byward Market at 1 York Street.
Awesome. Shannon, thanks for coming by.
Thanks so
Happy
much.
wedding season. I know you're getting busy.
Thank you.
Maybe busier after this program, and that'd be a good thing.